Airbus, the most prestigious aircraft manufacturer, has just announced its shocking plan to build the A390, and this beast is engineered to tear right through Boeing's long-haul dominance. It's set to outclass the 787 Dreamliner by a full 5 years, make COMAC's C919 look like a budget shuttle, and leave Embraer's E2 series stuck in the regional league. One announcement, and Airbus has already set the stage for an aviation shakeup Boeing can't afford to ignore. Industry insiders say this isn't a regular product launch, it's an ambush. Airbus has timed it so perfectly that Boeing simply can't punch back in time. If the A390 lands as planned, some experts believe Boeing could be locked out of an entire market segment for decades. The aggression makes sense when you rewind to Airbus's last big gamble, the A380. That super jumbo was supposed to rewrite the rules of air travel. Airbus bet big on a world that would forever rely on massive hub-to-hub routes, loading hundreds of passengers into one giant plane and flying them between a handful of mega airports. But the industry moved in the opposite direction, shifting to smaller, more frequent point-to-point flights. The A380 was suddenly a giant without a real battlefield. It wasn't just a strategic mismatch, it was a logistical nightmare. Only 144 airports worldwide could even handle the thing, which meant airlines had to bend their entire route maps just to use it. The seats were hard to fill, operating costs skyrocketed, and its outdated engines burned through cash as fast as they burned fuel. What was meant to be Airbus's crown jewel became an anchor dragging the company down. By 2019, Airbus finally pulled the plug, and in doing so, left Boeing free to sweep in with a more flexible lineup. The 787 and 777 families moved in to dominate the premium long-haul market, while Airbus was left holding only the A350 to compete. For Boeing, it was a gift. For Airbus, it was a scar. And that's why the A390 feels different. It's not just another new plane, it's a revenge project. Every flaw that doomed the A380 has been surgically removed from the A390's design. No oversized bulk that restricts where it can fly. No inefficient engines that eat profits alive. No dependence on an outdated hub model. This time, Airbus is building something leaner, sharper, and far more dangerous to Boeing's business model. The A390's blueprint reads like Airbus went down Boeing's spec sheet and ticked every box marked, "Beat this." First, the size. This is a single-deck wide-body built to carry between 450 and 470 passengers, depending on how the airline configures the cabin. That number alone puts it ahead of Boeing's most ambitious variant of the 777X, which maxes out at 426 seats. It's a critical advantage because Airbus isn't chasing capacity through brute force like it did with the A380. Instead, it's threading the needle, packing in more passengers than its direct rival without crossing into the oversized territory that crippled the Super Jumbo's operational flexibility. Then there's the reach. Airbus is promising a range of up to 11,580 miles. That's not marketing fluff. It's a number that opens doors to ultra-long-haul, city-to-city routes that even Boeing's best-performing jets can't touch. It's the difference between needing a fuel stop and flying straight through from New York to Sydney or London to Auckland. Right now, Boeing's 777-9 is rated at around 8,383 miles, and even the smaller 777-8 caps out at 10,046 miles. The A390 would outfly both, creating a performance gap that airlines can exploit to launch prestige non-stop routes without juggling complex layover schedules. Where the A380 was a diva that needed a special stage, the A390 is being designed to be a star anywhere. Its dimensions will let it fit into most major international hubs without the costly infrastructure overhauls that made the A380 a nightmare for airports. No widening taxiways, no reinforced gates, no bespoke boarding bridges. This means an airline could slot the A390 into its schedule at Los Angeles International, Dubai International, Singapore Changi, or Heathrow, without the kind of logistical headaches that once forced carriers to limit their super jumbos to a handful of routes. But the real hook for airline execs isn't just capacity and reach, it's efficiency. Airbus is engineering the A390 to be 25% more fuel efficient than current generation long-haul wide-bodies. In a world where jet fuel accounts for as much as 30% of an airline's operating expenses, that's the kind of number that makes CFOs and accountants sit up straight. That efficiency edge isn't just a line on a sales brochure. It's millions saved annually per aircraft, the difference between breaking even on a route and running it at a loss. The efficiency gains start with the engines, and here's where Airbus is playing a long game. It's in advanced talks with Rolls-Royce to power the A390 with the UltraFan, a high bypass geared turbofan engine that's been in development since 2014. Rolls-Royce has poured over a decade into this project, refining a design that promises a 25% fuel burn reduction compared to the Trent family engines already considered top-tier in efficiency. That's not a small bump. In aviation, even a 1% improvement can sway airline buying decisions. The UltraFan's performance leap comes from a combination of a geared architecture that allows the fan to spin at optimal speeds independent of the turbine, and a fan diameter pushing 140 inches, the largest ever for a commercial engine. Rolls-Royce achieved its first run of a full-scale demonstrator in 2022 at its Derby facility, using 100% sustainable aviation fuel during testing. Another nod to where Airbus wants to position the A390. But Airbus isn't stopping with a conventional engine option. It's also preparing for what could be the biggest shockwave in modern commercial aviation: hydrogen electric propulsion. Under its Zero-E program, Airbus has been developing systems that use hydrogen fuel cells to generate electricity mid-flight, powering electric motors without producing CO2 emissions. The concept involves storing liquid hydrogen at cryogenic temperatures, feeding it into a fuel cell stack, and driving high-efficiency propulsors with the electricity produced. The tech is still in early large-scale testing. Airbus has flown smaller demonstrators and plans full-scale hydrogen-powered test flights in the second half of this decade. But integrating it into the A390 as an optional variant would be a market disruption on par with the jet engine replacing propellers. If successful, it wouldn't just narrow Boeing's competitive window, it could slam it shut for a full decade. For Boeing, matching that leap wouldn't be as simple as bolting a new engine onto the 777X. Hydrogen propulsion requires a complete redesign of fuel systems, storage tanks, safety protocols, and maintenance regimes. It's the kind of fundamental shift that takes years of R&D and billions in investment before an aircraft is even certified, let alone delivered. Airbus knows that. By offering both a conventional UltraFan-powered model and a hydrogen-capable variant, it's effectively setting a technological trap. Boeing will have to either rush an unready solution or accept trailing Airbus into the green aviation era. The A390's development plan, as leaked, shows Airbus leveraging every lesson from the A380's failure while aiming squarely at the weaknesses in Boeing's current strategy. High capacity without oversizing, longest range in its class, operational compatibility with most of the world's busiest airports, a fuel efficiency gap wide enough to pull in every cost-conscious carrier from Qatar Airways to United, and a propulsion roadmap that starts with the most advanced turbofan ever built and could end with the first commercially viable hydrogen-powered widebody. One of the most talked-about features in the leaked A390 design is its new carbon fiber reinforced plastic wing, a leap forward from even the composite technology used on the A350. Carbon fiber reinforced plastic isn't just lighter than the aluminum alloys Boeing still uses extensively. It's also stronger and more fatigue-resistant, giving the structure a longer service life. Airbus engineers have been refining this material application for years at their Filton and Broughton facilities in the UK, where the company's Wing of Tomorrow program has been in development since 2016. The A390's wing is a direct beneficiary of that program's breakthroughs. But it's not just about material strength. The A390 wing will be wired with gust sensors capable of detecting microturbulence changes in real time. This is technology Airbus has been testing since 2020 on scaled demonstrator platforms. When those sensors pick up changes in airflow, active control surfaces can automatically adjust, reshaping the wing mid-flight to smooth out the ride and, crucially, cut aerodynamic drag. Less drag means less fuel burn, which, over the course of a 16-hour New York-Singapore route, can translate into thousands of dollars saved in a single flight. The performance implications are huge. Analysts who reviewed the patent filing suggest these active control adaptations could push the A390's fuel efficiency even further beyond its already projected 25% gain over current-gen aircraft. That would make it cheaper to operate over its 20 to 25-year service lifespan than any comparable Boeing model, even if Boeing were to introduce an incremental upgrade to the 777X. This isn't just an edge in marketing, it's an operational cost gap big enough to sway fleet-wide procurement decisions. Inside the fuselage, Airbus is turning the A390 into a passenger experience machine. The leaked spec sheets show a wider cabin cross-section than the 777X, allowing more generous seating layouts. In economy, that translates to extra legroom, even in standard configurations, something airlines can market without sacrificing as many seats as they would on narrower widebodies. At the top end, first-class suites are being designed as fully customizable modules, with carriers able to configure enclosed spaces. lounge-style seating, or even small meeting rooms for high-end business travelers. Then there's the circadian lighting system, tuned to gradually adjust color temperature and intensity over the course of a flight. Airbus has tested this on A350s with carriers like Qatar Airways and Singapore Airlines, and the results show measurable improvements in passenger adaptation to new time zones. For ultra-long-haul routes, that's a major differentiator. It's the kind of perk that can turn a 17-hour flight from an endurance test into a selling point. Air quality is also getting a next-gen boost. The A390 will incorporate an advanced filtration and humidification system, providing cleaner air with higher humidity levels. Reducing the dry skin, sore throats, and fatigue that are common on long flights. This is similar in principle to what Boeing introduced on the 787, but Airbus is promising finer particulate filtration and a steadier humidity profile. For passengers, it's a noticeable comfort. For airlines, it's a feature they can tie directly to brand loyalty and premium ticket sales. For the airlines, that's where the math gets interesting. Early estimates put the list price of the A390 at around $400 million, already under Boeing's $442.2 million list price for the 77X. When you pair that with better range, higher capacity, and lower operating costs, the financial argument becomes difficult to ignore. And remember, airlines almost never pay list prices. Large orders with launch customer status can secure discounts of 30% or more, meaning the A390 could enter service with a price tag well below what some carriers have budgeted for their next long-haul flagship. The demand backdrop makes these numbers even more compelling. According to the International Air Transport Association, global passenger traffic in the first half of 2024 rose 12.3% compared to the same period in 2023, bringing the industry back to nearly 100% of pre-pandemic levels. In markets like China and India, where economic growth is pushing millions into the middle class each year, the capacity crunch on long-haul routes is already visible. These are the exact markets that could benefit most from a 450-plus seat aircraft with point-to-point range capabilities. So, when you combine the A390's aerodynamic innovations, passenger comfort upgrades, and cold financial logic, it's clear why airline executives are already sketching out where it would fit in their fleets, even before Airbus makes the official launch announcement.